Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Good to be here.
So today, we're diving into just one source. It's a news report from India Today Malayalam.
Mm-hmm.
And it covers a deeply tragic event that happened recently in Thiruvananthapuram, India.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
Our goal today is really just to carefully unpack the details as they're presented in this specific report, just to understand the situation based purely on what this article describes.
Exactly. It's about understanding the narrative within this one piece of reporting.
And we need to say up front, this is obviously a very sensitive, very difficult topic.
Mm-hmm.
It involves the death of a child.
Absolutely.
So our focus is strictly on understanding the reported facts from this source and doing so with the utmost respect.
Agreed. We're looking at it through the lens of this one article, seeing what it tells us.
Okay. And the core event, the heartbreaking event the report focuses on, is the death of a 9-year-old girl.
Yes, that's the absolute center of the story presented here.
Right. Okay, so let's start unpacking what this report actually says. It begins by stating, pretty clearly, a 9-year-old girl was found dead inside her home.
And it gives the location Shanthavila. That falls under the Neemam police station's area in Thiruvananthapuram.
Got it. The report also identifies the child, doesn't it?
It does, Malayalam. It gives her parents' names, Shamin and Lekha, and mentions she was a 4th grader at Neemam Government UP School. So quite specific identifiers right at the start.
Okay. And then the report moves pretty quickly to what the police initially thought, or at least what the article says the police thought.
Yes, it states the police's preliminary conclusion, their initial assessment, is that the child died by suicide.
Wow. Okay. And does the report link that to anything specific?
It does. The article directly links this police theory to distress the child apparently felt after being scolded by her mother earlier that same morning.
So the report itself draws that connection between the police theory and the scolding.
That's how it's presented in the article, yes.
Yeah.
It lays out that connection quite explicitly.
Okay, let's look at the sequence of events that led up to that point, again, just based on what this article tells us. It mentions the mother, Lekha, was unwell.
That's right, feeling unwell. And because of that, the father, Shaiman, was getting ready to take her to the hospital that morning.
And the report says while they were getting ready, Ahaliam, the daughter, fell down.
Yes. And then, according to the police information cited in this report, the mother scolded and also hit Ahaliam because she fell.
Right. The report specifically mentions hitting as well as scolding, based on police information.
Correct. That detail is included in the article's account.
The article then says the parents reportedly told Ahaliam something like, sit still, don't fall again, while they were going out.
Yeah, that instruction to sit still and not fall is noted in the report. They were leaving for the hospital.
And Ahaliam was then left at home. Not alone, though.
No, not alone. She was left with her father's sister, so her aunt, while the parents went to the hospital.
Okay, so parents leave, child is with the aunt.
Yeah.
And then the report details how she was discovered. It says the aunt cooked some food for her.
Yes, prepared food.
Right.
And then called Ahaliam to come and eat.
Done.
But the report says the child had apparently locked herself in a room, and she didn't answer, didn't come out, didn't open the door.
Which made the aunt concerned, obviously.
Okay.
So the report says she looked into the room.
Uh-huh. Through the window. That's what the article states.
And that's how she found her.
That's the sequence in the report. Looking through the window, she reportedly found the child hanging.
Such a terrible sequence. So thinking about how this specific report lays out that timeline, starting with the fall, the scolding, parents leaving, then the discovery, what's significant about that presentation?
Well, what really stands out is how the report frames it. It presents the police's initial theory, suicide due to distress from the scolding right near the top.
Yeah.
And then it immediately follows with this sequence. The fall, the scolding, the parents leaving, the child locking herself away, and then being found. The way the article structures this, it strongly suggests, or at least reports the police suggesting, a direct cause and effect.
Yeah, it creates a very specific narrative arc within this single report.
Exactly. It's very focused, doesn't really bring in, other potential factors or outside context in this particular piece. It just lays out this chain of events as the backdrop for the police's preliminary view.
So understanding this reported sequence is important because it shows you exactly how this specific news source is framing the tragedy.
Precisely.
It gives you the specific chain. Fall, scolding, parents leave, child with aunts, child found. That's the story this report tells.
It's about grasping the narrative constructed by this article, seeing the elements it emphasizes and connects.
Okay. So just to quickly recap what this one report has shown us. We've got the child's identity, Ahalyam, her age, the place, Thiruvananthapuram.
The specific circumstances described, the mother being unwell, the fall, the scolding, being left with the aunt.
And the police's initial theory, as stated in the report, linking her death to distress from that morning's scolding.
And of course, the reported sequence leading up to her being found by the aunt.
And yeah, as we've stressed, this deep dive, it's been exclusively focused on the information and the way it's framed within this single news report. We haven't gone outside its bounds.
Correct. Strictly looking at what this one article contains.
Absolutely. We've just unpacked what this source shared. Which I guess leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. And this is based purely on the details reported here. Given the sequence this source describes, the fall, the scolding, the parents leaving, the child being left with a relative, then being found locked in the room, what does reading only this specific reported timeline reveal, according to the article, about those immediate moments before the tragedy?
Yeah, what questions does understanding just this report's version of events raise for you, based solely on the context and the details it provides?
Something to reflect on, just using this single source as the basis.